Happy Friday, Brian Manning here with your weekly update. Let's get right to it. So real news for us this week was Amazon's partnership with Realogy. And certainly it was only a matter of time for Amazon to jump into this landscape. And anyone that didn't see it coming is crazy and has just kind of been ignoring what's going on in the technology scene. But certainly not surprised to see Amazon partnership with Realogy here. And the consumer experience they're going to bring to them, we'll have to wait and see. And although not announced yet, the next part we'll have to see on the piece of the puzzle is mortgage lending. Only a matter of time before Amazon makes another partnership and hops in with the mortgage lending as well, and then starts to bring to the consumers the real estate sales, the discounts, and a mortgage lending process as well. So interesting to see. We'll have to kind of wait and see how this whole thing unfolds. Certainly is going to have an impact on all of us in our industry here, but we'll have to wait and see how it happens. Next thing for us, really most notable news is really what's going to happen next week. Next week is chock full of news. So just to back up for a second, we did get the GDP today, and GDP measures the strength and the growth of the U.S. economy. Expectations were for the first quarter GDP to grow by 1.9%, and the report came out at 2.1% today. So slightly stronger than expected, but what's important to know is that there's multiple reads to come out. So even though this is the first reading on the first quarter of the GDP, there's going to be multiple ones behind it, and there's always going to be revisions. So this is a temporary reading for right now. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Really most notable, though, is really going to be what's happening next week. So next week, the Federal Reserve talking. Federal Reserve is going to cut rates. They're going to cut rates 0.25%. The GDP reading that we had today, it's not going to impact that. It's not going to make a half a percent rate cut. But what's crazy is the amount of phone calls that we're getting from clients right now saying, hey, I hear the Fed's going to cut rates 0.25% next week. Should I wait on refinancing or buying a house and waiting for the Federal Reserve to cut rates? So one thing to know is that just because the Federal Reserve is probably going to cut rates next week 0.25%, that does not mean that mortgage rates are going to go down 0.25% as well. So what's going to happen is next week we're going to get some news as well on the PCE, which is the personal consumption expenditure. This is the Federal Reserve's favorite gauge for inflation. And it's the inflation news next week, along with what the Federal Reserve says in their comments when they cut their rates, and that's going to have an impact on the mortgage rates. So it's very possible that we see inflation data that is not bond friendly. We see the Federal Reserve cut rates, we see the Federal Reserve make comments, and we also see mortgage rates go up as well. So next week could go either way. I'm not saying that mortgage rates are definitely going to go up, but we have to keep in mind when we're talking to our consumers that a Fed rate cut by 0.25% does not mean that mortgage rates are going to go down by 0.25% as well. So if you have any buyers that need to get educated on this or on the fence, have them give me a call. I'd love to help in any way I can. Happy Friday. Hope you have a great day. We'll talk with you soon.